This is another personal vlog. Oh, that was a funny time for a cough. And this one's about boundaries. Andy used to talk to me about this all the time, and I never could get it. Kind of, I could get it to a point, but I didn't get it 100%. And of course, Andy, I don't know. Andy probably thought about it a lot because Andy has her own set of challenges when it comes to this area. But this week, I've had so many things come up where I was like, oh, that person has terrible boundaries. And then I actually had a realization about myself, a situation. So I think I made a vlog earlier, a couple days ago, about Thanksgiving and my realization that, oh, no wonder I'm used to letting people invade what feels comfortable to me, because this whole chunk of my family, that's all they do. And Thanksgiving was such a good, a terrible but good example of that, of how I just invade the boundaries and how much that's just generational, to let people be so invasive. And I talked to my mom, and my mom, well, let's just say I talked to somebody else, and they also were just as frustrated as I was, even though they anxious, even though they handled it better in the moment. In any case, I was thinking about that. I was just like, oh God, I've totally been socialized into this more than just the way that I thought. There's other places where I've thought about how I'm socialized into this, but it's so much bigger than that. And then I had something happen with a friend who got upset with me. They kind of implied I needed to do something for somebody else. And I was like, well, I don't really know that I'm in a position to do that. And I said it nicely, but it was clear enough that it was a no from me, and that I was willing to do this much, but that I wasn't willing to do a huge amount, mostly just because I don't have time. I have the willingness, I don't have the time. And there was a lot of factors into that, but I thought it's funny because I talked to somebody else about it later, and I was like, yeah, so-and-so was kind of pissed at me when I essentially said no. And I said a kind no. I was like, collectively we will handle this, but this will not just be an April problem, because it's not something that happened to me. And if I was in a different position, if this had happened a month ago, I would take on a lot more of the load, but that's not, the timing was reversed. There's a bad ag burn somewhere today. It is gross out here. You can smell it in the car, unfortunately. Okay, so there's that. That happened, and my friend was like, yeah, that seems like that person's being a little bossy. And then my friend was like, why would she be mad at you about that? And I was like, I don't know, I thought it was a weird reaction. And then that person did something else I thought that was really, that. I've noticed some things with that person where they're also struggling with their boundaries. They maybe offered a suggestion that was probably a little bit of a stronger suggestion than it really needed to be. There's just been a few funny things. I shouldn't be surprised. It's just that I see that person differently than I used to. Then another person did kind of the opposite. They, they just offered advice about something that I didn't really want. They were kind of trying, I think that they were trying to hide their feelings about it, but they weren't doing a good job. And that's something that maybe I need to think about with that person, is that I just realized as I'm talking, she might have a hard time just hiding what she's feeling. Because that comes up between the two of us once in a while, and it's interesting because I like her. In fact, I like both of these people. And then I just was paying attention to something else that I can't really talk about. A video that I've been struggling with the last. It's been something that I've struggled with previously, and I thought I was over it, and I don't know, maybe I was for a while, and then something else happened more recently that kind of caused it to bubble up inside of me. And sorry, I was just looking at where the smoke is from. No idea. It caused this feeling to kind of bubble up inside of me, and then I wasn't. Then that sort of set me down a path of just not being sure what to do with the feeling, and I was like, I thought I was through this, and clearly I'm not through it, or it wouldn't be here. It wouldn't have come back. Maybe I was through it and it came back. It's hard because I think that feeling is I wanted the feeling to not be real, and I think that the feeling might actually be real. And it's not a feeling, like I gotta work on changing the feeling, because it's not something that has an end point. There's no resolution other than me feeling differently. It's not that type of thing. But I realized that it's something that I have a bad boundary about. And I wouldn't have thought that until this week. I was like, nope, I'm fine. But I do always have this like lingering feeling. It's something that I would like to keep secret and private, and I do always have this lingering feeling that it's gonna seep through. And I think some of that's because I don't have a good enough boundary around it. So I don't know what I'm gonna do about that, but I do know that I need to start thinking of ways to have a better boundary around that set of feelings, and put it on a box, a tiny try to smush the box and put it on a shelf and leave it, put it in the closet, turn the light off, hope it's never found again. Like I gotta build a wall around that thing. I gotta make a fortress. I gotta do whatever I can do to not nurture it into coming to life. I gotta murder it, because it's not something that I can keep hanging on to. And what's hard is a lot of the times for me, once I'm like for example, once I finally here it is. What I was gonna say is true. It took me a long time to get okay with not riding Wyatt. Long time. Had lots of hope about that. That always takes me forever. But once I kind of decided, I was like, I had some sadness, but I was already starting to move on fairly quickly. And maybe I haven't decided about this as much as I think I have, because my behavior, even though I keep telling myself that I have decided to walk away from that feeling and to walk away from that hope, my behavior indicates otherwise. At least my internal behavior. Hopefully not too much of it is seeping out. I try to keep it. I try to keep a lid on it. I try so hard. I try for this thing to never ever escape me, but I don't know that is reasonable. So, yep, that's probably the deepest thing that I probably shouldn't even talk about that on a video, but there you go.